Great. I'd like to call the February 10th regular meeting of the Police and Fire Commission to order. You all should have received a agenda and packet in your mail. We'll start with roll call. Vice President Boyle-Roloff.
Here.
Commissioner Cobb.
Here.
Commissioner Wanazak is signed in, but I don't see him at his desk yet, so we'll report when he shows up. Commissioner Cheslock had a migraine this morning, and so she will not be joining us. She'll be excused. Next item is approval of the agenda. Again, Commissioner Wanazak has just entered the screen.
Hello.
So we have 4 of the 5 commissioners, and again, Commissioner Cheslock is excused. Next item is approval of the agenda. You should have all received that in the hard mail and also an emailed copy. Are there any changes or corrections? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Wanazak. Second. Second by Commissioner Boyle-Roloff. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we have unanimous consent to the agenda. And approval of the minutes. You had several minutes in your packet. The regular meeting on December 3rd and special meetings of December 17th, January 12th, and January 15th to do interviews. Are there any changes or adjustments to those minutes? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Moved.
I'll move by Commissioner Wanazak. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Boyle-Roloff. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? All right, we have unanimous consent of the minutes. Information reports. We didn't have a chance to do a follow-up discussion on it, but in December, or December, January, we all had a chance to sit through a PEP training that was put on regionally, and just wanted to know if there were any questions or follow-ups or reactions or comments relative to that training. I think most of the commissioners were able to sign in for at least a portion of that. Did you find it helpful, useful? A few head nods. So if there's no other questions, then I'll turn it over to the chiefs for their report. Chief Litton, we'll start with you.
Good afternoon, everybody. Just a few things other than what's on the printed agenda. As you know, we started our consolidated merged department with Bellevue starting on January 1st. So we've actually had 1 month of experience with us. Besides that, everything is going very well. Everything as expected. No hiccups in the transition. We haven't had any problems. We've been responding over there. There was 122 emergency calls in the village of Bellevue's area last month. So just wanted to say that everything is functioning and running as we expected to so far. So far, so good. The new battalion chiefs that started back, that were overhired and actually started back in the fall, they have been assigned to their shifts now as of beginning of the year. Both of them, individuals are doing really, really good, and we don't expect that that's going to change or have any problems. They've been given some specialty assignments, picked up areas that from the departing battalion chiefs, so they're functioning very well and doing well. So I want to report on that. Our recruit academy, as you know, you're about to approve the recruits for hire later in the agenda. We will be starting, their first day will be March 15th, Monday, March 15th, which is the 3rd Monday in March. Typically, we invite the commission to come to their first day, and typically Chairman Goldhahn does a welcome introduction short thing for them on that day. And then we'll be graduating a class in May, and I'll get those dates to you as soon as I have the finalized date on that. That typically takes place out at NWTC in one of their large auditoriums. We are going to do it in person. We will make sure that we're still following all the protocols with social distancing and masks and so forth, but it's an important enough event that we may have to limit family size and so forth, but we do intend to have that in person in May. I would, just as we get to when we get to the hiring or the approval of the recruits, We have 6 retirements from 2020. There was one additional budget position created for 2021, and last night at the Personnel Committee approved the overhire of 3 more individuals because we have 2 captains and an engineer retired on or before June 1st. And so from a fiscal standpoint, it is more cost efficient for us to fill the positions than it is to pay overtime for the remainder of the 6 months of the year that they would not be hired. So in total, it's about a $20,000 savings over the 3 positions of hiring new recruits versus filling the positions with overtime. And we have to fill them with overtime at this point because we are at minimum manning, and every vacancy in the shift every day creates an overtime slot for 24 hours. And so once we did the math and looked at all of the analysis of that, it makes sense to overhire for these pending retirements, and the Personnel Committee approved that last night, and I expect that the full council will follow suit on this coming Tuesday night. Final thing I have is the Wisconsin State Fire Chiefs Association will be holding their conference here in June, 3rd week of June. So that'll be they'll be in town 17th, 18th, and 19th. So that takes place at the KI Convention Center. Just throw it out there for your schedules if any of you are interested in attending that. We'll make sure that we have passes for the commissioners to come to that. I will be assuming the president of the State Fire Chiefs Association during that time frame, and so if any of you that can make it want to come, that'd be great. Love to have you. So just throwing it out there to get it on your schedule. I know it's a few months down the road yet, but we are intending at this point to have it in person, barring any unforeseen bad things down the road here. So that'll conclude my report.
Okay, so Chief, if my math is right, that would be 11 new hires that we'll have this year?
10.
10, okay. All right, great. Okay, any other questions for the chief? All right, thank you. Chief Smith.
Thank you, everybody. I apologize for the small screen. My computer's on the fritz and I can't figure it out. So, hey, things are going well over here. If you've been looking at our crime numbers, which I send out every week, they look fantastic. I expect for some regression towards the mean as we've seen in years past. But, last year at this time, we had 51 violent crimes. This year, we're sitting at 18. I mean, numbers like that are just fantastic. A little bit of it due to the cold weather. And maybe a little bit of luck, which I'd always say I'd rather be lucky than good. Shots fired, we've had 0 in the past week. We disbanded our shots fired violent crime task force. Probably once the cold weather's over and maybe around April, we'll spin it up again and get 4 or 5 volunteer officers that want to go out there and really focus on those violent crimes that are occurring. I think our guys did a great job. I think everybody that was out there committing these shootings knew that we were out there looking for people committing these shootings, and consequently our shootings really dropped off, so that's great. COVID update real quick. We had 1 case in February. That individual's back at work, probably a family contact. The wife is a nurse. She had COVID a week earlier. He comes down with symptoms and he's got it, but he's back at work right now. We have 0 cases. We've had the vaccine. We had 135 people in the station, sworn in civilian, were eligible or signed up to take the vaccine out of about 225 or so that we have. So a little disappointed that the number wasn't higher, but we're looking to get people back to work. With the school going back to full time or at least 4 days a week, we think we can bring some of the civilian staff that have been off for the past year, in many cases, back to work. And I've reached out to Joe Falls in the mayor's office to see about ramping up our return back to work. We're still working hard on the recruiting. We're getting fewer and fewer people that are taking the test, though. And I think Jody can tell you about that. I think we used to get 600 people that take a public test, and now I think the last time they had 27, and that was just last week. So our numbers the number of people applying are getting smaller and smaller. We're going to start reaching out to all the academies again, as we did last year, and try and pick up some of those recruits that are in the academies across the state. We had 1 individual from Chicago PD that applied. We're going to take a look at him, but it's tough. It's tough to get people to apply. And I think that's all over the place from what I'm hearing from my colleagues across the state and in other cities across the country. They're having the same difficulty. It's just a difficult time to hire people for the police department. So that concludes my report. If you have any questions, quick update on the body cameras. We have them all in place. We have 190 of them. We have 150 tasers, 42 squad cameras. Right now, we're building the infrastructure. So we're going to start putting them in the squads. We're going to take out the old digital camera that we went in, but that includes a new modem and all new wiring. So it's a little labor intensive. We got to build out the infrastructure within the department. So we have to put out the racks and the servers that download everything and all the charging stations and whatnot. And then Axon has to come out here and train our officers on how to use it. Now, the good news is our SWAT team got training from Axon last year when we did a beta test. We put it on all our SWAT team members, and they really liked it, but they also learned how to use it. So we are able to issue them to our SWAT team members. They'll be using them right now during SWAT callouts, and shortly after that, they'll be using them in the field. So SWAT team guys will have them. They'll use them on the SWAT callouts, and they're going to start rolling them out into the field. Unfortunately, due to Axon's schedule, I'm thinking it's probably going to be end of March, beginning of April before we have them on the entire staff here. It's slow moving and it's frustrating, but between building it out and getting Axon people out here to train everybody up, I think we're looking probably end of March, beginning of April before we're able to get them going. So that would conclude my report.
All right. Thank you. Any questions for the chief?
Yeah, Chief Smith, is there going to be any announcement of that to the community about officers becoming equipped with the body cams?
Yeah, I've talked to the mayor about it, and the plan is when we get them rolled out, we'll have a conference. We'll bring the community, the media in, and we'll have an officer there. We'll do demonstrations. We can do some live demonstration of the different things. So we'll do a whole rollout. I did get on WTAQ this morning, and I was on Channel 11 on Monday doing a story about where we're at. But when we do update it, absolutely, we're going to roll it out and make sure everybody knows about it.
And then I would probably anticipate a lot of questions from the community around use of the cams, like are they automatically activated, when that kind of stuff. But yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, and we'll answer all those questions. We'll have a copy of our procedures and all our protocol and our manual section. We'll be able to demonstrate how it activates. It's really neat. I mean, you can activate it by a slamming of a car door. You can activate it by withdrawing your weapon from the holster. You can activate it by pushing a button on it. There's a lot of different ways that we can have it activated. So it's going to be a lot of data, but it's going to be really good, I think, for everybody in terms of transparency, in terms of accountability. And the officers are in favor of it, too, from everybody I spoke to. So I'm really, really excited about it.
And that'll be awesome if you could communicate that point as well about the officers really being behind it as well. I think that'll be key.
Yeah, and we'll invite you all to the press conference when we do it, because I think that'll be great. Thanks, sir.
Good. Any other questions? All right. Thank you both. The next items are consideration with possible action on the budget status report and the budget spreadsheet. Those are both in your packet. It looks like actually there were two sets, one year-end 2020 and then the year-to-date in 2021. It looks like in 2020, both police and fire underspent their recruiting budgets to the tune of about $7,600 total. And for 2021, the police budget stayed the same, but I was surprised to see the fire budget go down from $4,500 to $2,000. Jen, do you know if that was planned or chief, or is that maybe a miss?
So the budgets were divided into both the police department and the fire department's budget. So, Chief, I'm not sure if you could comment on that.
Yeah, that's we made the reduction based upon previous year spending. I mean, basically all we have for the recruiting costs are the cost of the Fox Valley Technical College test and process, and so we've been under $2,000 every year. So I reduced the budget from $4,500 down to $2,000. I'll remind you that those budget numbers used to be in the mayor's office under the Police and Fire Commission.
Yep.
They got farmed out to each one of our individual budgets, and as obviously we're looking at those year in and year out, there's no reason to have that additional $2,500 in there. We can always amend it for next year, but basically only putting in there what we're spending.
Okay, great. And it looks like the amount for the NW or the Fox Valley service, we actually got the bill in 2021, but it was charged back into the 2020 budget. So actually, we probably won't see that then in 2021. Is that correct, Jen?
Yes, I suppose we could be billed for the 2021 process this year and pay for that this year. I guess it depends when the bill comes.
Okay. All right. Any other questions on those?
Hey, Rod, Warren here. Chief Litton, do you know what time that first day ceremony will be on March 15th, or is that to be determined?
It'll be about 8:30 in the morning.
Okay. And is that at Station 1?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Any other questions on the budget status report or the budget spreadsheet? If there were no other questions, I'll entertain a motion to receive those and place on file.
So move.
Moved by Commissioner Wanazek. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Cobb. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor for receipt of the budget status report and spreadsheet and placing those on file, say aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? All right, we have unanimous consent of those. Next item is consideration with possible action to approve the monthly bills. There are a number of bills in there, all related to either recruiting advertisements, physicals, psych evals. I think that, so any questions on those? If not, I'll entertain a motion to authorize payment.
Motion.
Moved by Commissioner Cobb. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Boyle-Roloff. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of paying the bills, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? All right, we have unanimous consent of that. That brings us into the recruiting items. There are actually 3 potential closed session items on the agenda. So we'll take one closed session vote to go into closed session for all 3 of those, and then I'll report 3 separate reportings coming out. So the first is consideration with possible action on the review of firefighter candidates' backgrounds. Commission may convene in closed session pursuant to sections 19.85, paragraph 1, sub C and F, Wisconsin statutes, to consider employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation data of any public employee over which the governmental body has jurisdiction or exercise responsibility. The commission may thereafter reconvene in open session pursuant to sections 19.85, paragraph 2, Wisconsin statute, session, and consider the balance of the agenda. Actually, with that, I'm going to recommend we go into closed session twice, because this one deals with fire, and once that's done, we can free up Chief Litton, and then we'll do another one to cover the police items, because those have the next 2. So is there a motion to go into closed session for the review of the firefighter candidate backgrounds?
So move.
Moved by Commissioner Wanazek,
Second.
seconded by Commissioner Boyle-Roloff. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Are there any opposed? All right, we have unanimous consent to go into closed session to review the firefighter backgrounds.
And it looks like we have possibly a member of the public joining us, so I'll just place that person in the waiting room
Okay,
unless they choose to leave, I suppose.
Just curious, how does a member of the public join us, Rod, when we're in Zoom?
I think the notice that we get that gives all the Zoom instructions is actually a posted notice.
Gotcha.
So other people can sign in if they want to do that. So,
Gotcha.
Okay, we're back.
all right, thank you, Jen. We're back recording. While in closed session, we reviewed 8 background investigations of potential firefighter unanimously of the 4 commissioners present, unanimously decided to continue those 8 individuals in the hiring process for the Green Bay Metro Fire Department. And with that, Chief Litton, I guess we're done with all the fire things. So if you have bigger and better things to do, we appreciate your time here, and we'll see you next meeting.
Thanks, everybody, and I'll send out a reminder notice when I get off the call here for the first day of the Recruit Academy. Have a great day.
Great.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, the next two items on the agenda deal with patrol officer candidates and interviews. So we'll do one closed session vote to cover both of those, and then I'll report separately coming out. Consideration with possible action on the review of patrol officer candidate backgrounds. The commission may reconvene in closed session pursuant to sections 19.85, paragraph 1, sub C and F, Wisconsin statutes to consider employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation data of any public employee over which the governmental body has jurisdiction or exercise responsibility. The commission may thereafter, pursuant to sections 19.85, paragraph 2, Wisconsin statutes, to report the results of the closed session and consider the balance of the agenda. And then the next item is interviews with patrol officer candidates. Take notice that pursuant to sections 19.85, paragraph 1, sub C and F, Wisconsin statutes, the commission may convene in closed session for the purpose of interviewing, evaluating, and considering employment of patrol officer candidates. So is there a motion to go into closed session for these two items?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Roloff, seconded by Commissioner Wanazak. Any further discussion? Is there, hearing none, motion to go into closed session? All those in favor saying aye? Are there any opposed? All right, we have unanimous consent to go into closed session.
Okay, we're recording.
Okay, we're back recording. All right, we're back in open session. While in closed session, the commission reviewed two background packets. We determined to not continue one of those in the hiring process. The other one, we conducted an interview, and we'll report the findings of that interview and the interviews and continue that person in the hiring process. And the votes on those were unanimous of the four commissioners present. With that, the next item is set the date of the next meeting. Our regular date would be March 4th. So let's tentatively hold that unless we get word from the police department that a better date to fit in with any more interviews or more candidates that take place.
And that'd be at the regular time, Rod?
Yeah, yes,
3:30.
yep.
Is that 3:30 you said, or 3?
Isn't that we usually do 3:30?
I don't remember.
It's been so long since we've had a regular meeting, nobody remembers. 3:30 works for me.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. All right. Okay, and with that, that completes our agenda. So is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Wanazak,
Second.
seconded by Commissioner Boyle-Roloff. All those in favor? Any opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you all.